Welcome to Carside Questions, the part of Everyday to Exotic where the community takes the lead. Alex, Amy, what was the car that got away?
It wasn't just a Morris Minor million, it was the millionth Morris Minor. And they only made so many of them, and they celebrated the fact that Morris was the first company to sell 1 million of that particular car. It was lavender with magnolia interior and the black piping, and it had everything, and it was fully restored, and it was gorgeous, and I wanted it. And it went to auction. We couldn't go to the auction, and it's in England now. It's gone to live on a farm or something. No, I'm sure it's very happy, but I wanted that car. Not that I'm bitter.
How long ago was that?
That was
7 years ago, 8 years ago?
About that. That was pre-pandemic.
So you're past these 7 stages of denial.
Yeah. I've seen photos of it. Somebody sent me photos it was on one of the Morris Minor groups that a friend of mine is on, and they were like, oh, look, the 1,000,000th Morris Minor is in the UK. And I'm like, yes, I know. I still dream someday. Maybe that person will sell it one day.
One is actually sort of weirdly related to the Morris Minor Million. The same person who had that car had the prototype Aston Martin DB24 Mark III. It was the car that they used as a test bed to really develop the differences into what they were changing the car into. And it had been driven in the Monte Carlo Rally. It had 4-wheel disc brakes, which weren't on any Aston Martins at all at that point, weren't even on the production car. It was an ugly blue. It needed a lot of work to really make it pretty, but it didn't need to be made pretty. It ran and drove, and it was just a really cool car. And he not only had the car, but he also had all of the test documents and build records and things as they went through it. And he and I went back and forth multiple times on the value of the car. I made an offer. He decided that he thought it would get more at auction. He shipped it off to the UK where it went to auction, hammered for less than I offered him for it. And long story short, basically I ended up missing out on it. I did end up getting an Aston Martin 24 Mark III through him, partly in compensation for the fact that he didn't sell it to me in the first place. So that's definitely one that got away.
Alex, Amy, what qualities do you look for when considering a classic car for purchase?
I tend to be focused more on the condition of the body and whether or how complete the car is in many ways. So I rarely buy a classic car that is what I would call done and fixed and running exactly the way that it should. A lot of times the previous owner, even if they've sorted it, it ends up sitting for a while, it needs the brakes gone through, it needs something done to it. So I pretty much count on the fact that I'm gonna have to do something mechanical to every car I buy. Otherwise, a lot of it tends to be the uniqueness. I like buying unique cars. I like things that most people haven't seen, the weird stuff. The weird stuff is always fun.
For me, I have a short list of different cars that I've seen, that I've been exposed to. And so for me, it's like, is it on the list? Or is it something I've never heard of before? And usually, is it small?
Is it small and cute?
Yes, exactly. Is it cute? Because those tend to be my preferred cars, not just to look at, but also to drive.
A lot of the cars that you like are so small that you hardly can drive them.
True. And you can't.
And some of them I can't. So
some of them are very small. It's like the Bantam pickup that we did not buy because Alex could not
get out of it.
Yes.
I couldn't drive it, and I couldn't get out of it.
Yes, he had to sort of turn and back out in order to get out of that car.
I had to basically come out on my hands and knees.
Yeah, whereas for me, it was perfect. Everything was in the right place. It was really easy for me to reach everything.
I got in, I got my legs under the steering wheel, and my feet were flat on the floor, but I couldn't lift my legs to put my feet on the pedals because the steering wheel was against my knees.
Yep, and the pedals are like
the pedals were tiny and there just was no room. And then I couldn't physically get out of it because just I was so crammed in.
And it had wood in the back. It was so cute. But the bed was like, maybe you could put a couple office boxes in it, a corgi, something like that. Yeah,
two boxes of wine.
Of wine.
So the dealer who had it, when it came in, it didn't get driven in.
Funny.
It came in the back of a short bed pickup with the tailgate down, admittedly. But
it's
one truck fit in the bed of another truck to come in to be sold. So to give an idea of how tiny it is.
All right, that's all the time we have. If you want to ask Alex and Amy your own question, write it down in the comments below and maybe we'll feature it on the next episode of Carside Questions.